Thanks, Maggie and Kay. Business attraction. That's what economic development guys like me think about, talk about, and dream about every day. How can we attract businesses that will provide well-paying, year-round, sustainable jobs in our region? How should we market ourselves? What do those companies want, and what do we have to offer? And who are we competing against? That's a lot of questions, but don't fret. Fortunately, our guests today are three of the most knowledgeable people in Maine when it comes to business attraction. I'm sure they'll be able to give us the answers to all the questions we've been waiting for. But seriously, we're very pleased today to have the governor's point person for economic development for the entire state, John Richardson, Commissioner for the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development. We're also joined by Matt Jacobson, CEO and President of Maine & Company, a private nonprofit corporation that provides free and confidential services to companies seeking to locate in Maine. And finally, Taylor Smith, editor of Maine Biz, which I personally believe is the premier business publication in this state. Well, gentlemen, we only have about 12 minutes to talk. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
So we're going to jump right in, okay? I think you guys are some of the most knowledgeable people in terms of business attraction. That's what you do for a living, and that's what you report on, a lot of the business activities. So let's open with a pretty broad question. What do businesses, what are they looking for when they're making those decisions about where to locate, if they're going to expand or relocate? Is it, when they go down their checklist, is it taxes, is it workforce? What are the things that really kind of cause them to make that decision? Let's start with John.
It's a broad question, but I'm going to do the best I can to answer it. I think largely, although taxes is an issue within this state, when you're looking at big businesses, when coming here, they're looking for the workforce. And I think the workforce and a trained workforce is key. And I think the second thing, as we talked about at lunch, is attitude. And attitude up and down the line with respect to wanting them to be here and doing what we can to make their success, our success makes all the difference.
Okay, good. Matt?
Sure, I think costs matter. Probably the single the question I get asked most often is, what can you do to make me more successful? How is my project going to be more successful here than any place else? With Pine Tree Zone, we don't have to have a tax discussion. Typically we get...
That really helps. That's significant.
You have to get it. That's
good to hear.
The bar. Every state has 10 years.
I get asked that all the time when I'm out pitching that to the municipal governments. They say, is this really making a difference? So
it matters to get you in the game. Okay. It doesn't seal the deal, but it matters to get you in the game. So taxes don't matter because we have the Pine Tree Zone. Healthcare isn't as big a problem for attraction companies because they typically buy their healthcare where their headquarters is. So they don't deal with Maine healthcare. Energy matters, and workforce, as the Commissioner said, is absolutely the paramount question. Do you have enough people right now to make me successful, and do you have enough in the pipeline so that I could be successful next year too?
Good. How about from your point?
I think from the companies that we speak to, we hear just a huge variety. You know, everybody's looking for something different. Somebody wants easy access to the interstate. Other people want, you know, a more remote setting because their employees are looking for, you know, that vaunted quality of life. You know,
which ones Maine. Are those? That's the ones I'm going to call, I think.
Right, but I think I agree that, you know, the fiscal part is very important. You know, taxes.
Bottom line.
You know,
business
exactly.
Decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, are they going to get incentives in place Y as compared to place X?
Well, that's good, because that's my next question is, let's talk about incentives for a minute. I mean, we always feel like we're competing against the rest of the country and the rest of the world, and I guess we are. But I always hear about those other states. Kansas has dumped so many tax incentives, and Michigan has this. Are we competitive, and can we do anything at the local level to help with incentives?
You know, I think the incentives will never make a bad deal into a good one. They just won't. Now, there are certain bars that you have to reach, but I don't think that you can buy your way out of this problem. You have to have a compelling business reason for people to come here. And as John says, you have the attitude that people want to. Perfect example. I think one of the things that swung the Athena deal is something as easy as having the city snowplow run in front of their building. That was something that proved that they wanted them. It was a small cost savings, or a small cost for the city, but for them it was a big deal.
It was the message that
exactly. So I don't know that incentives turn good deals, you know, better. Yeah, but they're the icing. They're not the foundation.
John?
I think incentives are necessary at the beginning of a discussion, but incentives, like every other kind of program, they have an end life. They go away, and in the long run, I think, as I said earlier, it comes down, I think, to whether or not the workforce is there for that company. You know, I look and talk with, you know, we have a corporate income tax rate, and that gets folded into the cost of doing business. What I'm hearing more today, not healthcare, not taxes, I'm hearing more about energy costs, and that's the real issue. Depending upon the circumstances, depending upon the business you're in. It's really about those energy costs. And I think that with the right attitude, with a can-do attitude where we're willing to partner, find ways and solutions around high energy costs or whatever the problem is, because it's not, as Taylor said, it's not the same problem with each company. It's a different problem depending upon the company itself. And you need to have that right attitude to address it. And I learned that, as I said, when I went down to Birmingham, Alabama, as Speaker of the House, and had dinner with the president of Mercedes-Benz North America. He decided to pick Alabama. I said, was it low taxes? Was it the right to work? Was it the lax environmental laws? No, John, it was the attitude. And that was that if I'm going to invest money, $6 billion into a plant, I want to know that people want me and have the right attitude to keep me.
I hear you talking about attitude, but I also hear you saying workforce. Every time you've answered, you've used the word workforce too. So that's really critical, it would seem to me.
The right workforce trained to do the job that really will address what the company needs are.
Okay, how are we doing on workforce as a state? When you guys work with companies, or you interview them and talk to them, what are they thinking?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, Maine has things in the negative column.
Yep.
You know, people complain about high taxes, they complain about the cost of energy, but there's one thing that's always in the plus column, and that's the workforce, the great Maine worker. You know, you know that they're industrious and efficient, and you know that they work hard. They've got this work ethic.
piece,
Yeah, and I think that's from companies that we've spoken
That's
with.
real. I mean, because
I
wondered. I've always wondered that. I mean, we say it all the time because that's what we get paid to say. But you know, do people out there really think that?